Hello, Humanities 1. Welcome back to another video. It's Miss Williams. Today is Friday, March 27th, and we are going to jump right on into it. So we have been focusing on step 5 of the research process, which is note-taking, and we've been breaking that step down. We've already gone over paraphrasing, we've gone over direct quotation, and today's focus will be on citations, okay? So at this time, please pause the video and take a look at the 3 competencies that you will be assessed on or graded on for this unit. Wonderful. So you should have taken a few moments to read over these 3 competencies, learn from the past, express oneself boldly, and lead inquiry. Anytime that you have questions about these, please feel free to email me or email your direct humanities teacher. Our goal of the lesson, or today's objective, is students will be able to generate citations for their sources using the 9 core elements of a citation. So in a moment, I'm going to define to you what a citation is, but by the end of this lesson, you should be able to create your own citation by being able to identify what the core elements are of a citation and then use those elements in order to create one. So when deciding how to cite your source, which is essentially giving credit to where credit is due, which is what I've said in my previous instructional videos, you want to start by consulting the list of core elements. And these are the general pieces of information that MLA suggests including in each works cited entry. And so I'm going to tell you right now that MLA stands for Modern Language Association, and it's defined as a style of writing used for college level writing. So MLA is just a style of writing. I used it in high school, and you all are surely going to be using it in high school. But there's other styles of writing like APA, Chicago style, and things like that. But we're only focusing on MLA. And what a works cited page is, it is a page that lists the different works that you referenced in your paper or in your research project. Okay, and this normally appears at the end of your project. Excuse me, so if you decided to make a PowerPoint presentation on your religion, the last slide on your PowerPoint presentation will be your works cited page, which will be the list of all the things you referenced in your PowerPoint. So in your citation, there are 9 core elements that you want to include. And there's a certain format in which you have to include them within that citation. And so I'm going to go over these 9 right now. So you should be on page 2. It's page 1 to 2 of your packet. And you want to take notes under each of the core elements. Okay, so if I go over author, you are going to write where it says A, begin the entry with the author's last name, followed by a comma, and the rest of the name as presented in the work. And this element with a period. So the first thing you're going to do is include the author of the work, whatever the source is. You have one source, you want to find out who the author is. Once you find out the author, you're going to write their last name first, comma, the rest of their name, and then you're going to end that with a period. Number 2, the title of the source. The title of the source should follow the author's name. Depending upon the type of source, it should be listed in italics or quotation marks. And in our case, since we're going to be using a lot of web pages or URLs from the internet, you are going to be putting the titles of the source in quotation marks. Okay? The name of the parent website, or like where that article or that source is coming from, is going to be called the container, and that would be in italics, and that would be core element number 3, title of container. So the container is like the larger whole of which the source is located. So if we're on Harvard's like religious literacy project, they would be the container, and that would be in italics, which is kind of like that slant font. And then the title, which comes before the container, would be in quotation marks if your religion is Judaism or if your religion is Hinduism. Okay, so we have our author, last name, comma, rest of the name, period. We have title of the source, which in our case, because we're using a website, it's going to be in quotation marks with a period at the end. And then 3 is the title of the container. The title of the container is going to be italicized, which is like that slanted font, with a comma after it. You should be on page 2 of your packet right now. We are on core element number 4, which is other contributors. So these are other people that have contributed to that source. Okay, this might be an editor, an illustrator, a translator. And if that contributor is relevant, we've talked about relevancy before, relevant to your research or necessary to identify the source, you want to include that in the document as well. And their name is going to be followed by a comma. Number 5's core element is version. So if a source is listed as an edition or version of a work, include that in your citation. Some books you get, say like edition, 7th edition, or 3rd version, you want to include that as well. And you're going to include it in regular font, followed by a comma. 6th core element is number. So if you are using a source that is part of a numbered sequence, whether that's a book or a journal, and it's like page 57, you want to include that as well. So you're going to put the page number, page 57, and then a comma as well, okay? These commas and these punctuations are really, really important because it shows that there's a separation between each of the things that are each of the elements that are included within the citation. Number 7 is publisher. So the publisher produces or distributes that source to the public. And if there's more than one publisher and they're all relevant, you also want to include them as well. And if you include more than one publisher, you're going to put a / between them, and that publisher is also going to be followed by a comma. And if you notice, for each of these elements, I've literally formatted it the way that you should be typing it as well. We're almost done. 8 is publication date. When the source has more than one date, it is sufficient to use the date that is most relevant to your writing. If you're unsure, you want to go with the date of the source's original publication. So if it came out, it was written in January 2018, and it was published on March of 2018, but you're not sure which one, you're going to use the original date, which would be January of 2018. And of course, that is followed by a comma. And number 9, the core element, the last one that we're going to be using is location. You should be as specific as possible in identifying a work's location. And since we are using websites, you are going to include the URL, which is copy and paste the link of that website. And you want to be sure to remove the HTTP : / or any of that beginning stuff that's at the beginning of the link, and just put it in. And I'm going to show you an example right now. So I'm going to let me move my little head. So now I'm going to show you an example. I have a picture here of a website. Okay, the article is called "How Can We Make Technology Healthier for Humans?" And so using the 9 elements of a citation, the 9 core elements, I'm going to create a citation, okay? Number 1 is looking at the author, right? And I know that the author goes last name, comma, the rest of their name with a period. In this case, there are 2 authors if you look here. We have Alex Salkiver, that's how you say it, and Vivek Wadhwa. So I've included both of their names. Last name, comma, the rest of their name, period. Last name, comma, the rest of their name, period. Number 2, title of the source. And again, we're looking at a website, not a book, not a journal of any sort. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks. So if you see here for number 2, I have "How can we make technology healthier for humans?" with quotation marks. Then I have title of container. So again, this is like the mother of the website. You have the title, and then you have the person's who's like the actual domain or the organization that has put out this article. And in this case, it is Wired. And so that's going to be italicized, which is why it looks all slanted and it has a comma that comes after it. For 4, 5, and 6, which is other contributors, version number, they are not listed on this website, which you might find common when you're looking at websites and writing citations. You might find that you have some blanks in some of these core elements, which is fine. You want to get as much information as possible. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. So in this case, we do not have other contributors. We do not have a version listed or an edition listed, and we do not have a page number. So I went on to publisher. The publisher is Condé Nast, I think that's how you say it, which is down here, as you see, 2018, Condé Nast. And so it says publication date. The date is at the top right next to the name of the authors. And so I've put June 26, 2018. The location is the link at the top. And if you notice, I took out the HTTP, whatever that mess is at the beginning of the link, and I only put where it starts with www.wire.com/whatever. And so I've gone through all these core elements, making sure that I have my punctuation, making sure things are italicized and the quotations marks are around where they need to be. And my final citation would be this beauty at the bottom. Saul Kieber, Alex, Wadhwa, Vivek, period. How can we make technology healthier for humans? And it's from Wired, and I have everything included here that was applicable. Take a minute, look this over, and I will hop into the next slide. All right, awesome. So you should have taken a second to pause the video and look this over. And now we're gonna do a guided practice. So what I want you to do is click on this web link that I also put in your student-facing document that is online. You're gonna click on that and you're gonna look at the website. Based off of what you see on that website, you are gonna do your best to identify the 9 core elements in order to create a citation like I did on my example. So at this time, I want you to pause, take some time to look through the website and try to find all 9 of the core elements in order to create a final citation. Pause the video at this time. All right, so welcome back. You should have taken some time to look at the website on Rastafarianism and identify the 9 core elements from that website in order to create a citation. And you should have came up with a little something like this. So if you noticed, this one looks very different than my example because there are no authors listed on the website. And so like I said before, you're not gonna always be able to fill out every single core element, and that is okay, but you wanna get as much information as possible. And this is all that was provided. So you were able to get the title, which is why it's in quotation marks with the period at the end. You have the domain, the container, the title of the container, which is URI. We have the publication year, and we have the location. Okay, so those were the only things that you should have been able to identify based off of that website. Okay. For your assessment for this class, you are now going to do this for your 3 to 4 sources that you have for your religion. So in the document, you're going to create your own works cited page, which is again a list of all the works that you used or referenced in your research project. And you're going to be doing that by generating citations of your sources. And you want to go through each core element before putting your final citation below. So if you need to, which I would highly recommend, you go through all 9 of the core elements and then write your final citation at the bottom. And again, if you're like not sure how that's supposed to look exactly, please go back and look at both the example that I gave as well as the guided practice for Rastafarianism as well. Okay, as always, feel free to email or text me if you have my work number, or contact your humanities teacher. Videos are posted on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, normally by 10 a.m. or before 10 a.m. Live sessions are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and if you're not sure what that schedule looks like, the schedule is right here for you. Those sessions are really important to be at because we're able to answer your questions. If you need help with something, we can give you that extra help and support. So it's really vital that you do participate in live sessions. And we also want to see you since we're not in school for some time. And lastly, the next video, which will be on Monday, March 30th, which is insane, we will be finalizing step number 5 of note taking, and you will be taking notes using the skills you've learned so far with paraphrasing and using direct quotes. Besides that, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all on Monday. Talk to you soon. Bye.